here in Kumasi, where they have only one bathhouse. One bathhouse. The same bathhouse is where the boys or the male students bath. The same bathhouse is where the female students bath. And so what happens is that they've come to a compromise of a sort, drawn a timetable of a sort, where boys will take their bath and girls will also later go take their bath. As at yesterday, students of the school wanted to demonstrate. As at yesterday, they call it no bathing something demonstration. They intend to demonstrate against the situation. Now, the sad bit is that in this school, where the boys and the girls are sharing the same bathhouse, they have completed bathhouses for, both the boys separately and girls separately. They are not able to use these bathhouses simply because upon completion of the construction of the bathhouse, there was nothing like a soakaway. They didn't construct a soakaway, or they didn't dig a soakaway. So where will the wastewater go? Now, some people are of the view that let's build a soakaway, but I am told that the headmaster of the school says, no way, let's buy pipes. Let's buy pipes and lay pipes into a nearby stream. If you join us on Facebook right now, we're showing you that structure that collapsed on Monday. That structure that collapsed on Monday. We're showing it to you. And it has caused other damages. It is sad. Very, 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 very sad.
Saying now we feel this year. Yeah. They say they are not present in California.
Boy, school bibia dada. Bibia dada. Dino walk over because Kuko Bone did. The Bia comes is schedule, comes is schedule, and we are can a better more wine nursing.
Now, if you take time to watch the video on Facebook, where the students are on admission, see the faces of the students. Some have swollen faces. Swollen faces. Listen, today they are begging you, stay with us on Facebook and see things for yourself and drop comments because we need to talk about this. So if you're a head teacher, if you're a teacher, if you're a parent or a student of any school where you know of poor or bad structures, share them with us on 05511119995. But aside from that, if your child is among any of these injured students, if your child is among any of these children that got injured, what would you have done? Nana Ojima is with our newsroom. He's on the phone lines right now. He took a trip to Edraman Senior High yesterday. Nana, good morning.
Good morning, David.
So you went to the school yesterday. What did you gather? What did you find? Finish us with them.
So yesterday I made a visit to Edra to find more about the incident that happened. First, I visited the Edra Government Hospital where about 49 of the students who were injured were receiving treatment. Now, before in my presence, the hospital officials discharged 29 of these students after they said that they've treated them to a stage that they can allow these students all to go home and further the treatment from home. And there were others who were still there. One of them with a severe fracture in the leg was also referred to a different facility within the enclave. So there are still some students who are on admission. According to the medical officials or professionals, they are waiting for their x-rays and upon further investigation of from what they see from the x-ray, they will either allow these students to go home and continue treatment, or they will they'll keep them at the health facility. So what I can report now is that all students are out of danger, they are stable, and the hospital officials at Edra Government Hospital continue to give these students treatment. From what I gather, on the first day, there were 46 students who were brought in immediately when the incident happened. That's Monday. Yesterday, they kept bringing others. 3 more students were brought to the hospital for treatment. Now, when you go to the school,
before you go to the school itself, so what you're saying is that now the number of students who went to the hospital amounts to 49.
Yes, the number we have as at yesterday evening was 49.
All right. Now tell me this: this student who has this fracture that has to be referred to a different facility. Who is the student?
So it's a female student, and she's one of the affected persons. The hospital will not give further details about who exactly this student is, but what they are saying is that she is a female student who was also part of the people who were injured in that accident, or who were part of the people who were injured. So, due to the nature of her injury, she has to be transferred for further treatment in a different facility.
Did you see her yourself?
No, I didn't see her.
Can I hazard and say that she's the one whose voice we played, who says her leg is broken, was crying?
For that, I cannot authenticate it, but from what the medical professional or the medical superintendent at the hospital told me, she had an injury in the leg, which was quite severe.
These injured students who have been discharged and all that, how would you say their spirit or mood was like?
These are students who, when you see them, you see that they still harbor some fear. Even those I met in the school who are on campus who were not injured, they do not look like, they do not look happy. They still harbor some fear, and, from some conversation I had with some of the students, they tell me even when they go to some of these classrooms which are not in good shape, they shiver. They shiver because they are still in school. Academic work has resumed. They've gone to their classrooms. So when you are in one of these classrooms, you see it's not fit enough for students to study in. They still harbor some fear. They still shiver. They tell me they are not able to concentrate because they think from what they saw and what they witnessed, it's possible that there could be a repetition of that. So what is happening now is that the teachers and the headmaster, the headmistress, they've taken the role of, psychologists, and they are trying to psych these students up so that the fears that they harbor, they get to a point that these fears will leave them, then they continue their studies. But from what I saw in the school, some of the structures are not fit enough for students to study in. They look like pavilions. If they're concrete built halfway, and it's being supported by some wooden pillars, and some of these classrooms have been roofed like that. So some of the students say this is the same way that the dining hall looked like, and there were some cracks and shakes in the dining hall, and also they are seeing same in their classrooms. So they see some resemblance that make them fear that these classrooms could cave in any moment from now.
All right, so if you're with us on Facebook, which I pray that you are, we want to take you through step by step some of the things that we have gathered. So Joel, yes, pause. No, Joel, go one step back for me. Yeah, no. Yes, this one. Pause this one for me. Listeners, join us on Facebook right now. This is a classroom. This is a classroom for students of Ijraman Anglican Senior High. This is a classroom. And this is where they sit and they study. And Nanaya, who went on the ground, says to us that, listen, it is similar to the structure that collapsed on Monday. I'm sure that those ones will not have the pillars on the side, but that's for you to watch on Facebook. So Nanaya, based on what you've said so far, it brings to mind what the lady who was crying said, that school will be biya dada. Is that what it is? Biya dada school?
Exactly. From what I was able to gather, the school was constructed somewhere 20 years ago, and some of the structures that were supposed to be temporary structures are still existing. Students are still using these structures that were supposed to be temporary. For instance, the dining hall, which caved in just on Monday, I met one of the past students who told me that he was part of the second batch who came into the school, and they came to meet that facility serving the students, and 20 years on, what was supposed to be a temporary facility still exists. There are some classrooms in the same, nature, and some of them still exist. Even though government has constructed this 2-story building, classroom block for these students, they are yet to move the students there, because from what I was able to gather, on Friday they are supposed to commission the facility and get the students in there. So until that is done, probably, even if that is done, there are still some students who will still be in the old structure. I saw one other facility that serves as a boarding house, and this is a structure which is still uncompleted. It's not even screened yet. Even though they've plastered inside, the outside is still not plastered yet. So even if you should look carefully at this structure, it's not something that ordinarily you have people, staying in it as rooms or serving as bedrooms for some people. So the school still is they have a number of challenges when it comes to infrastructure.
So from a cursory viewpoint, these structures that you saw, how strong or solid are they? Are there fears? Do you have fears that it could also collapse when heavy winds come?
I do not have enough knowledge about structures, or I cannot justify the structural integrity of these buildings. But if I speak as a layman, even for nothing at all, if you look at the kind of rainstorm that we experienced, especially in Adria and its environs, from what I gather from NADMU, there are chances that Adria will experience a lot of these rainstorms. And if you look at the kind of roofing and how old they are, it's possible that even if these buildings do not cave in, there are chances that the roofs will be ripped off when there is one of these heavy rainstorm in the area in these coming days. So there's need for urgent steps to be taken.
When you got there, was school in session? Because as part of the report that you brought, the video, I can see students eating in the trees. Was school in session? Was class in session?
Yes. School is in session. Academic work had resumed when I went to school. When I went to the school, it was time for lunch. So most of them had come for lunch, and after their lunch, they were also belled to go back into their classrooms. So from what I gather from the district chief executive and the headmistress, academic work was made to resume the morning after the incident. So school is in session. Those who were not injured are still in school and are going about their normal academic duties.
Nanaya, thank you very much for your time with us this morning. We're grateful to you. Now, we've been joined on the phone lines now by a former teacher of Adriaman Anglican Senior High School. Chief, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So I refer to you as a former teacher of the school. Within which years were you there as a teacher?
I was there from 2017 to 2022.
So just last year, 2022. How would you describe the structures at the school, especially this one that has collapsed on Monday?
Currently, the structure we are talking about is the down is solid, but the upper part is more of a wooden structure with meshes and what do we call it? Meshes, and then there's a net around it. So it's the upper part of the structure is not solid like that.
So it came to you as no surprise that it collapsed?
It has been used for quite a while, and I believe that it needed to be changed. And looking at the capacity of and the usage of that structure, I think it's overburdened.
Overburdened?
Yeah.
Explain that to me. When you say overburdened, how do you mean?
Looking at the quantity of students, and then the structure that they use it for is a multi-purpose structure. That's where the church service happens. That's where assembling of the students happens, because there's no proper assembly hall that needs to cater for them. So that's where almost all the meetings, even for staff,
according to health authorities,
So tell me this, how come this makeshift structure has been there up until now that it's collapsed? How come school authorities have not been able to push and fight hard for a permanent structure or dining hall to be built?
I would say that there are even other structures that have been left unattended to, that even need their attention. There are various other structures there that need attention. I don't know whether management has been working on pushing for a new structure on that. That's because I'm not part of management. I cannot answer for that.
But as a teacher at the time, didn't you teachers raise concerns about the situation?
Oh, there's been instances whereby we spoke about it. We've been speaking about it, that we need better places of convenience, better structures. Yes. Better structures when it comes to assembling the students, and also an ultra-modern dining hall that will handle the students when they go out or when they are coming for their breakfast, their lunch and supper.
And when you raised those concerns, what response were you given?
I think that one, management will be the best to answer, because they will always say that there is no money. Other structures are even left unattended to, so it has not been a priority to handle the dining hall. So I would say it came to me as a surprise a little, because the front of the structure is a little bit solid, because that's where the matron is, but the back of the structure is more of wooden, and there are no pillars, standing pillars. Most of the pillars inside are wooden. So with that kind of rainstorm, there was a possibility of the roof coming down.
So these classrooms that I have seen, and for our viewers who are with us, on Facebook, they would appreciate what we're talking about. Most of these classrooms do not have windows. They're just structures with roofings on them, with some concrete walls raised to a certain level, and then the wood holding them and all that. When you were there as a teacher, how was it like, especially when it rains? Was class in session? Were you able to teach?
When it rains, sometimes we have some blocks that classes completely will not be in session, because you can't even hear yourself when you're teaching.
You can hear yourself?
Yes. So I would say it has to break until the rains stop. You won't continue.
Is that one of the reasons why you left the school?
Yes, I was teaching in one of that blocks. We call it the pavilion.
Is that why you left the school?
Oh, I would say the infrastructure could be part, but I needed to leave because when you are somewhere for a while, you also want an improvement in your life. So you like to leave to a better location.
I hear you. Well, thank you very much, sir, for talking to us. He is a former, teacher of Eduraman Anglican Senior High. We have, sounds from the medical superintendent of the place, Dr. Abuaje. We'll be sharing that with you shortly. We'll also be hearing from, the MC for the area, Dr. Kingsley Osei as well. But joining us on the phone lines right now, listeners, is Frank Dudu. Frank Dudu is the regional NADMO boss. He joins us on the phone lines right now. But before Frank, good morning.
Good morning, Dave, and good morning to your listeners.
How are you doing?
By grace, you're kicking.
All right, so thanks for your time. Now, I would like for my listeners, hold the line for me, Frank. I'd like for my listeners to listen to what the medical superintendent of the place had to say. His name is Dr. Abuaje. Just take a listen to what the medical sup had to say about students who came on admission.
All of them, they've been on analgesia and other medications to help allay their pain. So we've been able to discharge 28 of them this morning. We've taken x-rays for almost all of them, hoping that we'll review the x-rays this afternoon and also further discharge the rest that are there. We may have to refer one case, and that's the case of the right closed tibia and fibula fracture.
The dining hall caved in when students were having their supper on Monday. The rubble of the 20-year-old building is gathered at one side of the hall.
So that was the voice of the medical superintendent there, giving us assurances that, the students who came on admission are doing quite well. And at this point in time. Frank, you went to the school yesterday. You did not go there alone. You went there with your boss, that is Eric Nana Ajiman Prempe. And this is what your boss, the NADMO boss, had to say.
We are going to put our heads together with the assembly and see how temporarily we can help the school to go on with their normal activities of cooking for the kids, because they still have to be in school. And then together we will also talk to the Ministry of Education and get funds to see how in the long term they can get some dormitory, because what was here was not the best. Government is also ready to support the kids and the parents as far as the hospital bills are concerned. I'm discussing with the MC, and government will do that so that the parents will not come in to do that. So we want to assure parents whose kids are here that they are in safe hands.
CALM has returned.
All right, so that was the boss for NADMO, Eric Nana Ajiman Prempe. Now, Frank, you were on the ground yourself. Tell us about your own assessment of what happened on Monday.
We did receive a call that is very late at night, in the hours of 8 p.m. thereof, from my municipal director, informing us of an issue at Dramai Anglican Secondary School. So we were there in the morning together with my director general. He also did call very late, deep in the dawn of the following day, like 1 a.m. So we all rushed into the scene. In going with first, I think you've had all the bites of the sound bites from all angles, where we went to the hospital. Then we noticed that most of the students have been discharged. That is 28. The report that I had that very night was 46 had been rushed to the place. And looking at it, we were all praying that something extreme or bad wouldn't happen. Luckily for us, when we got there that morning, when I got to the grounds, my director was still in there, that they had gone to the hospital in the morning, rushed with 3 others. But when we visited the hospital, there was one addition that had come, giving a total number of 50.
Okay.
But we noticed also that at that time, 28 has been discharged out of the 50 students. And there was one critical issue of which they...
Yeah, that we talked about already. But Frank, yes. I have heard some people say that we were lucky that there was no casualty, no deaths. You were on the ground yourself yesterday. Will you say you agree to those, sayings?
Yes. Reasons being that if you look at how the windstorm, this is a natural disaster, how it did happen, and you look how the whole roofing went up, hitting another, then getting back slam on the very place that they were having their dining. You look at the situation, and there isn't any deaths. I would say it's a making of the Lord. It's a serious thing, but like we all witnessed yesterday, the structure in which they were having their dine had been something that they've used for quite a time. And we put our heads together, then we talked of a move where my director general, together with the municipal assembly, then the education, they are putting their hands together. Then we see how on the immediate term we are looking at.
Before we even get there,
Frank, before we get there,
where they cook and where these people used to eat, is it befitting for humans to cook there and then eat there? And if it's not, how come we have not been able to fix the problem up until this damage, this collapse took place?
David, you do agree with me that all problems cannot be fixed at a time. And looking at how the structure is, it's the floor is a concrete. They've given out the blocks and they've erected wood. It's something that they've gone on, but all cannot be done at a time. In getting even to the school, we got to know that there is a project which is completed yet to be commissioned. So I could tell you from one stage to the other, but all cannot be done at a go. But currently,
now that there's a problem, we want to go in there and do something about it.
Come again?
Now that it has collapsed, now that it's a problem, we cannot do everything at the same time. But now that there's a problem, we now want to go and do some temporary and some permanent fixing of the problem. If God had not been on our side and somebody had died, But if somebody had died,
yes,
they would have been singing a different song altogether.
And glory be to God that no life was lost in there. What is important immediately on this term is to make sure that they go on with their normal activity, then the student will be able to learn. Get a place that they can go on and have their dining. In the medium term, it's what we are looking at, and moving a step further to make sure that a proper thing is being, a structure being put up.
So your boss talks about a temporary and then a permanent, structure that will be done. When is the temporary one going to be done? What kind of a temporary structure are we going to have? Similar one that can also collapse in no time. And when we talk about a permanent one, how soon are we going to get that? Because he says he's going to speak to the Ministry of Education. He's going to
the timeline
debt fund and all that.
Frank, you wouldn't give you the timeline as to this is the time that the medium term we are going to meet. There are processes going. The Assembly, the Ministry of Education, whilst NADMO, through my Director General, also championed that course. The immediate term that we are referring to, we can't just leave them. They can't just sit under a tree and eat. And neither can they cook jigs on a bare place and do that. So we are still going to put on a temporary structure, which we are going to foresee that should there be any rainstorm, it's not going to bring the same chaos. Through that, they can go on with their normal activity. Then we look at a proper structure.
How sure are we that when we put up this temporary structure, because this one was supposed to be temporary and has lived so long, 20 years and beyond. So how sure are we that if we put up a temporary structure,
if the structure had been there 20 years and beyond, then it would have wear off for a very long time.
Exactly, because we were told by a former teacher of the place that it was overused. My question, Frank, is this. How sure are we that if we put up a temporary structure right now, it will not become a permanent thing? You need a permanent, proper one. How sure are we that this will be temporary and temporary it will remain? And then a new one will be constructed?
Dave, interestingly, you are asking how sure we are. And that is what I tell you, that we are working on that. And in moving, it's something that you go down there, management and things, they could speak to it for you to know. It's the structure that I saw can't be a 20-year thing. Between me and you, we know the lifespan of a wood should water get to it. But the problem was how it was roofed. Then the architect work that they did on the roofing was a problem. And this time round, we are looking at the engineers themselves from the assembly going in and assisting them, making sure that that temporary structure is being put out, that we wouldn't witness it. Then we move a step further in the medium term, then make sure that the government is ready to help and assist. But like I told you, all problems cannot be fixed at a go. And immediately, the only solution that we could do from NADMO are appointed to make sure that we liaise with the assembly, then get a place immediately for them so that they can go on with their normal activity and dining. Then we push further and make sure that proper thing is being done.
When you were on the ground, did you take the opportunity to visit other structures? Did you visit other structures on the premise, on the school campus to ascertain?
No. What happened was our concentration was much on the issue that had happened. So in entering the school, we met the headmistress. Then off we went into where the structure is. But we did not tour the campus. You ask your colleagues and your media people, they will tell you.
But again, my colleague Nanaya Ojima has told us about other structures on the campus that are not solid and strong enough. But Frank, that aside, we have had concerns from teachers from other schools who have shared pictures and videos with us. And Joel and Kate, if you don't mind, let's show the pictures and videos of other schools. There's a school here in Kumasi, the heart of Kumasi. When it rains, their dining hall floods. And in the video that we're showing on Facebook right now, the students have brooms and they are sweeping away the water from the dining area, from the dining hall. So imagine that it happens at the time that they are eating, they will not be able to eat. Frank, there's another school where on Monday I'm told that where they bath, where they take their bath, also collapsed as at the time the rains came down. This is a place where both boys and girls of the same school take their shower, they take their bath. So what happens is that they have a timetable of a sort where they go, this one takes a shower and this other guys go. Have you taken time, or will you take time to visit other schools, assess the structures they have, and if there are some that are dangerous, then you recommend that something be done about it?
Yes, Dave. We've been receiving reports from the various MMDAs and various directors there bring section reports. But what we've realized is, before even the onset of the rain, we were undertaking for then inspecting government facilities among others. The problem we have is the culture of maintenance. You see, most of these situations could be avoided. Why do I say so? As a manager or management, there are some things that you have to be proactive so that it wouldn't bring some of these issues. You get in this area of what you are talking of, that a place where when it rains, it drops down. It's a matter of a sheet and maintaining it. But when you leave it, when you see a situation happening, then you leave it, then the whole thing deteriorates. The culture of maintenance is something that is worrying us. And it's not even only in the schools alone. There are other government buildings that people are managing. You looked at it, then one will say we've written a situation whereby it will cost you about a little bit of 1,000, could cost you 1 million. Should you leave it? Then decide that I'm waiting for government, forgetting yourself that you are the same government. So this culture of maintenance is something that we should take it key.
Frank.
If we are able to do that, there are a lot of things that could be managed, then looked at. Because all problems cannot be solved, like we're saying, cannot be solved at a go. But if you are able to maintain, it gets to a point, gradually it gets to your point. But if it's not done that way, then always we have to come in when the thing deteriorates. It means whatever investment that has gone into the one that you have to maintain and keep it in shape, in a few years to come, whilst we've not been able to reach to the other, we have to turn back. So the culture of maintenance is a key thing. But we've been doing that and we've been pouring before. We are expecting a lot of rains and a lot of rainstorm. So what we started was, right from the month of December, whilst we were working on fire, we were still doing education and preparing people's mind from various units, from the various MNDAs, going around and educating that we should prepare ourselves for more because of the report that we've received from the meteorological agencies. So this is very important and that we should look at. We shouldn't sit and always expect that government will be coming in. The government is you, the me. But if we are proactive, then the little that we could do to maintain a situation that is on, then we move a step further, then requesting that this is what we've been able to do.
Thank you very much, Frank. But the question again is, they'll tell you that there's no money. So once you're saying that they should be proactive and do have a very good maintenance culture, the fact is they don't have money to do this. But Frank Kojobodu is a regional NADMO boss. He joined us for some updates as to what they picked up when they got to Juraman American Senior High. I have lawyer Michael also on the line. He'll be telling us about a bit of legal things that we need to appreciate. But before I engage with a lawyer, take a listen to what the MCE for Edra Seche Dumase, Dr. Kingsley Osei, had to say when he also took a trip to the school yesterday.
Kingsley Osei says efforts are being made to offer psychological support for the students.
Now they have been asked to concentrate on their studies because their brothers and sisters who were involved in one way or the other with various degrees of injuries are doing very well. And that also we ask them that if should their parents call that they are coming down, they should stop them because they are in safe hands. And I talked with the staff too that they should continue to do the teaching alongside advising them, counseling the students that they should not fear because everything is under control.
Everything is under control. The MCE for Edra Seche Dumase there, Dr. Kingsley Osei. So, I asked an earlier question, when I was doing the introduction, that if, as a parent, if you had a child in this school and the child got injured through this collapse of this makeshift structure, what action would you take? What would you have done? 05511119995 is our WhatsApp number. Join us with your thoughts. If you are with us on Facebook, I want you to appreciate a facility where students bath. This is, Nigeria, please go back for me. This is where students take their bath. And it serves a multi-purpose. That is to say, for both males and females. This is where they take their shower. And for whatever, I will not show you where they do the other business. So this is where they take their bath. Boys will go do theirs, girls will go do theirs later. But the unfortunate thing is that, listen, they have a new constructed bathhouse, separate for boys, some separate for girls. They are not using that bathhouse simply because, upon completion of the bathhouse, there was no soakaway, constructed. And so they cannot use it. Now that they want to construct the soakaway, I'm told that the headmaster says, don't let's construct the soakaway, let's rather get pipes. And then lay the pipes into a nearby stream so we can use the facility. But this is where they take their shower. So lawyer Michael Osu is on the phone lines right now. And lawyer Michael Osu is a senior lecturer with the Ghana School of Law, Kumasi campus. He's also the president for the Ghana Alternative Dispute Resolution Hub. Lawyer, good morning to you.
Good morning, David.
Well, thanks for your time, sir. Now, I'm sure that you followed all that has happened at Ejuraman Senior High School. And the students who have gotten injured, it's not just physical injuries, but also they have emotional or psychological injuries as well. Per the law, what action can be taken by a parent or a student under such circumstances?
Well, good morning once again, David. Looking at the circumstances, the children and the parents may very well have a legal course of action against the school board in the tort of negligence. Now, the tort of negligence requires that you must take reasonable care to avoid incidents that can adversely affect people who you ought to readily know will be affected if you do not take reasonable care in your actions. And in this case, we could potentially have a situation where a parent brings an action for negligence and would win. Because I have seen a few photographs of the structure that collapsed, and there are a few questions that may be asked. When was this structure built? And who were the people who built it? Did they get a permit before the school board? Did they get a permit before they did? And knowing that this was a wooden structure mainly, which had, a roof on top. So you have a heavy load on top of wood. Were they maintaining it regularly? Were they checking it to make sure the wood was not rotten or had gotten weak or something?
So lawyer, based on what has happened, will you encourage parents, guardians to pick up this legally?
Well, as lawyers, we are not, and our ethics do not allow us to incite the taking of legal action. So that is something I'll have to avoid. But it will be up to parents to advise themselves as to what they want to do. But for me, more importantly, I think that what we should do as a society is to use some of these incidents as wake-up calls. So I think that all school boards, all district educational, authorities, the district assembly should know that with the onset of the rain and the rainstorms, all the structures in these schools ought to be tested to ensure that their structural integrity is intact. I think that is what we should be using this incident for. Although I will also not, as it were, stand in the way of any parent who thinks that they want to bring an action against the school board or whoever they think they have a course of action against. Because sometimes it is when these things are done that people are forced to undertake the work that they ought to do and to make sure that they are not negligent in the way they handle their affairs.
So which means parents can sue. I hear you on that. But my final question to you, sir, is, so how come many a time we are reluctant in taking up some of these matters in the courts?
Well, I think it is a Ghanaian thing, If you look at, let me use a key word for litigation, mansotrifo. In Akan, mansotrifo is not such a good description. So I guess that in our culture, going to court and suing to keep people on their toes, it's not really something that is ingrained. You remember that we come from a place where a lot of things are resolved amicably, and therefore you will sit down, have a dialogue, and then one way or the other come to a mutual understanding. So I guess that is why we don't have that kind of going to court mentality.
And I'm happy what you said, that if these things are done, it will push those who are put in positions to act and do the right things. Lawyer Michael Osu, thank you very much for your time with us this morning. Like I said, he's a senior lecturer with the Ghana School of Law, Kumasi campus. He's also the president, Ghana Alternative Dispute Resolution Hub. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. All right, so it's about time for us to activate the phone lines. You can join us now based on all that you've heard so far. Call us on 03-220-83596, 03-220-83597, 03-220-83598. Let's hear from you. We've spoken to a lot of people this morning. How assured are you that the right things will be done going forward? If you were a parent to any of these injured students, what would you do under the circumstance? And Joel, if you don't mind, show on Facebook for me, Joel, if you don't mind, please. The new completed bathhouse, that new completed bathhouse that the boys can use, that the girls can use, and the fact that under the circumstance as we find ourselves, it's not being used, and rather they are using that very bad place as a bathhouse. Nana Kweku, good morning.
Good morning. I'll just say something. Going to court, yes, but as you go to court, you need to prove beyond reasonable doubt that it's by the negligence of someone for something to happen, and that has happened. And you're talking about natural disaster.
Will you call this a natural disaster?
No, Master, I didn't call to agree with you. I'm just saying something. As a result of natural, it's a rainstorm. I want to agree on that. So it's just about going to prove beyond reasonable doubt is by the negligence of someone that happened. Rainstorm, natural disaster. That is right away. But I want to say something. You see, we've come to a place at a time as a country. It's hard time that the rich in society set up to do things. Governance or government is not. It's about you and I. When we vote people, they don't just go sit there. We vote people to go sit there. But at the time in society, when you go to abroad, you have people that are supposedly rich in society. They set up funds somewhere or one or other to help in building the society. Government cannot do anything. So government can't do anything. But the rich society, instead of flaunting their cars and then flaunting their properties and everything, should set up, try to do something that, look, who was scar? Let us see the things that you'll be able to change the lives of people around you. Not about you flaunting and lording over us that you have money, and then you can see that through someone something, people in New York, people in France, Paris, and others, you see that they are rich.
I hear you. Thank you very much, Nana Kweku. Listeners, if you have joined us on Facebook and you saw the earlier place where the students take their bath, and then this new one, tell me what's going on in your mind. 03-220-83596, 03-220-83597, 03-220-83598. Sumaila, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome, boss.
Yes, what I'm saying is that going to court or taking legal action against the school will not help. Well, you know this our courting system. You go to court, for the court to even rule, it's also another problem. You see, the government is the school, and the school is the government. So which judge is going to rule in favor of the parents? There's no judge. Unless that judge will say, okay, this ruling, I'm going to rule in favor of the parents, then whatever happens, I take it. Otherwise, going to court will not help.
Well, evidence is the name of the game. You prove your case in court, and in this instance, we know that the structures there were not that solid, and we know that the students were under the structure when it caved in. But like you're saying, that is why you go to court and then you prove your case. If you win it, fine. If you don't, well, then you move on.
You and I know that this thing we are all saying is true. But it will go to court. At the end of the day, what will happen?
We haven't tried. We haven't tried this, so we cannot conclude. But thank you very much, Somaila, for calling us. 03-220-83596, 03-220-83597, 03-220-83598. What's on your mind right now? So the situation that we found ourselves in on Monday when students of Ejiraman Senior High School who were going for dining had a building collapse on them. George, good morning.
Good morning, David. How are you?
I am well, George. Good to have you.
David, I am worried. The man who just spoke and said, we are the government, so we should have done something, about it. We are not the government. You see, David, we elected people into power to manage the affairs of this country. But when they are doing something that we are not happy of, and we are talking, they don't listen. So how can they say we are the government? What can we do to help? They are not listening to us. David, we fought so hard against e-levy. They brought it on. We fought against National Cathedral. It is ongoing. And now, pensioners are fighting for their pension. And still they are not listening. They want to cut.
Hello? I think we lost George there. So let's speak to Frank, who's on the line right now. Hi, Frank. Welcome. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. So, the conversation is a bit something. I don't know, Ghanaians, we just have to change our mentality. Just to change our mentality. But this cannot happen, and you are saying you can't test the Lord. Why can't you test the Lord? We have to sometimes test the Lord and know what the Lord is saying. People are dying, injured, and we are there making excuses. Why? Parents, I'm urging every parent whose child is injured to go and test the law, because people have to be on their toes. Thank you very much.
That was Frank who joined us on the show. Well, 03220-83596, 83597, 83598. You can also join us. Hi, Ken. Good morning.
Good morning, David.
Trust you well.
I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, Ken. Go ahead.
Yeah. David, you see, I like the way the natural guy, I don't know, you say his name is Frank. I believe I'm right.
Yes, Frank Dodu.
Yeah, I like the way he was speaking. He was like, we lack maintenance culture. It's true. But the fact is, whose money should be used to do that maintenance? You see, the little salary that the headmaster or the headmistress takes is what he should use to do the maintenance, or whose money? So the whole thing is, as he's saying maintenance culture, he should refer to those in authority who are responsible for that, but not the school. There's a situation whereby we don't take any money from students. So how do they maintain whatever that is being on whatever that is destroying? So David, he should say something better than what he's talking about. Thank you very much.
Well, that's the thought of Ken as well. But Stanley, you are with me in the studios. You've been seeing, all these images, the pictures and the videos. First of all, what do you make of the picture where we showed earlier, where the boys and the girls take their shower together, but at separate times?
Yeah, I mean, it's appalling. It's very unfortunate that we subject students to these kind of environments. I mean, nobody is saying schools should be like Lancaster or should be like a 5-star hotel, but at least we need to have some standards to make sure that whether it's a place that they are sleeping, whether it's a place that they are cleaning or eating, it has to be something that is humane. This is not humane.
And talking about it not being humane, here we have a completed bathhouse that they can use. Yeah. But unfortunately, there was no soakaway done. And I don't know why the contractor failed to put...
I don't know the terms of contract of whoever put up this building. But sometimes these things, if it is not in the contract document, then the contractor will not do it. You have to... You are the one who is awarding, the one awarding...
But it's modern day, whatever contract you put it together, you make sure that you have everything...
Exactly, so that's why we have to find out first.
Nana,
yes, please.
Nana, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, thank you. Maybe my main company, you couldn't catch a so myself. And the whole doors, a drama, some happy. Tell me, you to more say, Sabi, a dying cry, maybe. We and about the time, Akumo, Sabi, Akuja, money, member. There's a year of my community. I'm an abbey, say. We be BSA a giant dice. Ade. It is some way say, then ya, Sabi, no ya be Juragun Kadasu. And Ramitier, say, a senior housemaster said, Obetina ready, or Swako, Obetina ready, swap, and say, as I said, down your coboso. Sad, a danya ye. Papa, who is to say, as I say, Mokope, a dancing for or morning, dear. One better say a dine ayi biri gumu chance eba be gumu dan wa hodin se akapintafoɔ mmafuru yempenua obi mla nanwa yempen ni yemoso efese nkwadaa no wɔn kɔ sukuu die na nso so miminim die mu die efese sukuu mpanimfoɔ no wɔn hwehwɛ baabi foforo mo ma nkwadaa no sebi wɔn nya kwan kodidie na mo fɛ saafo ya me bubo wɔn din.
Nana because when we spoke to Frank, the regional number boss, he said, well, they're going to speak to people, professionals. Because when he got to the school, he says what he saw, you could tell straight away that it was not a professional work that was done. Yeah. So this time around, they're going to engage.
That's why I disagreed when he said there was a natural disaster. It wasn't a natural disaster.
If it was a natural disaster, what is happening in Syria?
In Turkey, that is a natural disaster, not this one.
We have an anonymous caller on the line. Hi, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, David.
Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you. David.
Yes, sir.
I want 7 questions to be asked to the headmistress. You see, that place called dining hall is used as an assembly hall. Again, it's also used as an examination hall. At the same time, a dining hall. Then, with what the director said yesterday, the director said he is not aware of what is happening on campus. If that is what he said, then he's a big liar. He stays close to campus. And he knows things that he is not even supposed to know on campus.
Oh, but the director said, when we spoke to him yesterday, what he said to us was that he goes to the campus often. He's seen the structure. I asked him whether he's been inside to see, a few other things. He says no, but he's seen the structure. That's what he said.
David, like I'm saying, if he says no, that's not true. I know what I'm saying. That is where every gathering of the school is conveyed. So if there is any gathering which the director is invited, he goes there. And even if he doesn't go there, he has his representative going there. So I'm surprised he's saying that. I think the director should come again. The headmistress should also come again. There are a lot of people who need to answer certain very important questions, and they are just denying, and they don't want to tell the world the truth.
Well, thank you very much, anonymous caller. For at least for now, what I'm seeing on Facebook right now, the footage, Leo, they are not on the bare floor anymore.
Yeah.
Yesterday, sad enough, they were on the bare floor.
Yeah.
And this is a health facility.
Yeah.
A lot of infections, a lot of bacteria, a lot of stuff they could pick.
Yeah.
Then you come back with something else.
Yeah. And
Kofi, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Dave. This morning you were talking about some of the parents in this school suing the school authorities. David, do you know how much consultation fee alone costs? How many parents in this whose children are in this school can get even the consultation fee? Consulting lawyers in Ghana these days is very, very expensive. But the sad thing is that issues like this, when it happens, the lawyers, the legal aid lawyers, and the community, they all hear it. But no one lawyer will want to come out to say any parent who wants to take the school on, I am available. The person should come and I will help him. They will not do that. That is how come when something like this happens, no parent will go out there to sue the school authorities. Look, yesterday the education officer, look at the vim and the vigor he was speaking, as if what has happened was interesting thing. Oh, I went to the hospital. They were all doing fine. Even the doctor wanted to discharge them, but I told the doctor that he should wait till tomorrow. They were all fine. It is only the doctor who said they were the serious injuries, and the injuries are intensive. Look at this. And the headmistress was not available to speak to the public yesterday. I don't know if she has spoken this morning. I don't know. Look, things are getting worse under this government. And the education minister, I don't know how he will describe this. He will describe it as superhero secondary school. I don't know. What kind of minister is this?
I hear you, Kofi. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate all the calls that came through. Take a listen to this.
Good morning, Dave. There is Isaac. It's been a while. You see, I can confidently say that if this structure had not collapsed, this shenanigans about going to put up a temporary structure whatsoever wouldn't have happened. We are a nation that lacks maintenance culture. And I can tell you that there are other similar schools that are having similar challenges. But until something happens, nobody will be willing to pay attention. You see, our government was willing to spend 80 million. He considered the National Cathedral as a priority of priorities. We care less about human lives. We wasted money on COVID expenditures that could not be accounted for, and we are okay with it. Nobody is paying a dime for that. You see, and we get people, our problem in this country is politicians and those who support them. We get people who support them, and this is the kind of payback they give to us for electing them as politicians. It is a sad experience.
Well, thank you very much, Isaac. And this is where we draw the curtain on today's edition of Love in the Morning. Stanley, we've talked extensively. We've seen pictures, we've seen videos of situations in other schools. What would you want to say to people in authority, GES in the region and all that?
I think people need to pay for what has happened. What saddens me is the most is we are going to talk about this and then nobody's going to get recourse or redemption for what has happened to them.
But they're saying that the parents of these students who got injured, the government is going to absorb the medical bills.
Medical bills? Come on, David.
That's what they are saying.
Is this really something that we should really be talking about? Some of them, look, did you see the injury, the type of injuries that...
Oh, I've seen a couple of them.
Yeah.
Ladies with swollen feet.
And the trauma that they are going to suffer probably for the rest of their lives. And seeing these images right now, and if people can still go on Facebook, it's still there. If it wasn't for the tables... From what I'm looking at right now, I think it's the tables that even saved a lot of the students.
And the concrete kind of wall.
A lot of people would have died. And this thing is not a natural disaster. This is negligence. This is a human mistake. And whoever was in charge of making sure that the students is safe didn't do their job, and they need to pay. Somebody needs to be punished for this. Is it going to happen? No.
It's a get more with SG Ghana season. Conveniently purchase a comprehensive insurance cover for your vehicle from SG Ghana and get up to 500 Ghana cedis worth of free fuel. 500 Ghana cedis if you get to get, your insurance cover from SG Ghana. Also enjoy extra mileage with SG Ghana's Sound Drive insurance product and get extra protection as well.